According to the Washington Post, the Senate Intelligence Committee report concludes that the CIA has been misleading both the government and the public about its interrogation program for years. Now, officials who read the report said the 6,300-page document reveals that the agency allegedly hid details about its methods, and that its harsh interrogation tactics yielded little, if any, significant intelligence in the hunt for Osama bin Laden and beyond. Now, the CIA has not yet responded to the report, but according to the Post, agency officials who have seen it have described it as inaccurate. Now, the Senate is scheduled to vote Thursday about sending a summary of the report to the president. Here with reaction, Fox News contributor DeRoy Murdoch, host of Varney and Company, the Fox Business Network, Stuart Varney, and the co-host of The Five, our good friend Dana Perino. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Wait a minute. This reeks of a political document and a witch hunt. First of all, only government writes a 6,300-page document that nobody's ever going to read.
Like Obamacare?
Like Obamacare.
About 3 times.
But wait a minute. These guys there were very specific legal rules that they had to follow and did follow.
For the express purpose
of extracting information post 9/11.
To protect citizens. So this report has long been controversial. We actually, only thing that we have right now is the Washington Post report based on leaked details. To me, that says that the majority who wrote this report, the Democratic staff, knows that it's going to be controversy and that there's a lot of holes in it and that they're going to be eviscerated by the CIA once they're able to respond in full. Right now, it's kind of like boxing with a ghost because you don't actually know what is in the report. You
know, it's frustrating. The further we get away, Stuart, from the memory of 9/11 and 3,000 Americans killed, it's like now we're going to, you know, micromanage what we had to do in light of the worst attack in our country's history.
If I'm in the intelligence business, I'm going to lie. I'm going to confuse the enemy. I am never going to tell the truth. The enemy. I am never going to tell them the truth. I'm going to plant information to make them think that this is black and it's actually white. That's what I'm going to do. So here you have this report that says, oh, the CIA concealed black sites, concealed alleged abuse, exaggerated the extent of the information. That's precisely what I would expect an intelligence operation to do, especially when the interrogators face prison because of this report.
You know, so, DeRoy, maybe when we make it a little more personal, if you knew that somebody in your family was killed on 9/11 or potentially was kidnapped and we needed to extract information, I wonder if these very same critics would be as harsh against them in that scenario.
I think they'd be a lot more forgiving of these patriotic Americans who got this information out. I'll give you one example of this. Anybody here see the Brooklyn Bridge lately? The reason it's still there, in part, is because of waterboarding. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, who was the architect of the 9/11 attack, wasn't talking. He offered Quranic verses under interrogation. Finally, he was waterboarded. He cracked. One of the things he revealed is a man named Ayman Ferris, who was busy running around getting acetylene torches, and his plan was to go and cut the cables of the Brooklyn Bridge, drop it in the East River. Another plot they unraveled was 17 people ready to fly a plane into the Library Tower, which is the biggest building on the West Coast. Fortunately, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed talked after waterboarding. We busted up that plot. That building is still standing. The people inside of it were not barbecued. So waterboarding worked, and it was the right thing to do. We should keep doing it if that's what keeps those people from killing us.
And by the way, it was all done legally. And this is an important distinction. What do you think the agenda here is? I mean, 9/11 happened in 2001. It's 2014.
If I'm being kind, it's because it was a very controversial issue, and controversial issues deserve to be examined. And I think that oversight
13 years later.
Well, I'm just saying I'm trying to be kind. I'm saying like if I am looking at it that way. Another way to look at it, if I'm being realistic, is that it is a continued political witch hunt, in particular against not just the Bush administration, okay, but the individuals who were carrying out orders to extract information from terrorists. They are under prosecution, and that is something that I think President Obama could have cleared up when remember on the first day in office, he changes the rules. Yeah. John McCain praises him. At that point, why not protect the men and women that were involved?
We asked them to do something, and now they risk prosecution. That is outrageous.
That is precisely right. Those interrogators face prosecution after this report. And
we're talking about this is going on for 6 or 5 or 6 years.
It's hanging over
their lives have been put on hold. It's hovering over their heads.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I've debated people on this topic, and I asked people who are critical of these sort of interrogation techniques, okay, if you don't like waterboarding and these other things, what do you suggest? What do you propose? They have no answer because these people won't talk. They have information that potentially could lead to saving people from being killed. And they never explain how we might get this information otherwise.
A very frustrating thing as a communicator was Because the program was so secret, because you don't want the enemy to know what you're asking and how you are getting information, it sounded like the techniques were used by everybody that ever was captured by the United States military or our intelligence services.
There were 5
That's
people.
not the case. It was 3.
3 people waterboarded.
Three
waterboarded.
3 people waterboarded.
Yeah.
And this is what they're doing to these guys that did this.
6,300-page report.
We asked these guys to do this, and this is how our country treats them.
Yeah, this is how
And it is not true that it was illegal.
And we tell them it's legal. We tell them what to do.
And this Washington Post
outrageous.
story also named a couple of countries where we have black sites where we apparently did this interrogation. I think it'll be a lot harder to get other countries to cooperate if they know that they will be identified and have targets put on them by the Washington Post. This is awful.
All right, well said. Guys, good to see you. Thank you. Great analysis. And coming up.